Hi, I'm Joe Chili. Listen to me mornings, 7 to 9 on Buffalo's oldie station, The Big Weck. Welcoming our guest today on Buffalo on the Rise from the law office of Vincent LoTempio, Vincent LoTempio himself. How are you?
Great. How are you doing today?
Good to see you today. I'm doing well. Let's talk about a patent attorney. That's exactly what you are. What qualities should people look for? What things should people look for if they're going to get involved with a patent attorney?
Well, I always say the first thing you want to do is be able to have somebody you can communicate with and you can trust. So you got to use your own gut feeling when you're ever doing anything in life. And I also say, look, if you're building a house, get 3 bids from the painter, the electrician, and the plumber. And I'm just a plumber. So, talk to 3 different people and get a feeling for who you feel the most comfortable with.
Now, is it my understanding that somebody just can't go to their attorney? I mean, we have different attorneys for different things. We have attorneys that specialize in issues like elder care and things of this nature. When you talk about patents, what should people say in the event they say, oh, I'm an attorney, I can handle that? It's not just something that every attorney, and I don't want to say every run-of-the-mill attorney, but every general attorney can handle, right?
That's absolutely true. I had to take a special test. It's called the Patent Bar, and I'm a registered patent attorney with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. So first thing, you got to have that credential. So if they don't have that credential, then they obviously can't work for you. And and that's one of the reasons why I became a patent attorney, so I could just have a little bit of a niche for myself and I could work as a specialty. And you know what? I should say no other, but very few areas in the law is an attorney allowed to say that they're an expert. But one of them is a patent attorney based on this credential.
Now, you're working with inventors? Is that a proper terminology?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so how involved is an inventor, the person that's making whatever it is, or involved in wanting to get a patent? How involved are they in the process?
Well, I would hope that they're very involved, right? And usually they are because they're in love with their invention. Nobody's ever come to me and said, I have this terrible idea, no one's going to like it, right? So everyone's in love with their invention and they know it better than anybody else. And that's one of the things I say to them, you know it so well that your mind fills in the holes. So please try to, describe it to me in a way that anybody could understand. And even if you think that you're telling me everything, try to fill in the holes. It's kind of like, do you ever get the email where they spell everything wrong in it and yet you still can read the whole thing and your mind fills
it in? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that happens so often that they think it's there because they're so familiar with it but it's really not there. So yeah, as much detail as possible you want to be able to describe it. Our job is as an attorney and what's required by the patent office is that we describe it such that somebody skilled in the art can make and use it. So it's just not the idea of light filling a room, it's how you do it. It's an incandescent bulb with a copper filament or these LED bulbs, but you have to describe how to make and use it, not just the idea of, oh, we want a light bulb that fills the room.
So it's not just a global explanation. You're breaking it into elements, and maybe elements that may be more sophisticated than something that somebody else has done. Like for instance, if an inventor comes to you, is it difficult to tell them, oh, I'm sorry, that's already been done? Or you have to go back to the drawing board and do something a little bit different?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we do a search and there's 3 elements that it has to be. It has to be new, no one's ever done it before. It has to be useful, it has to work, and nobody's come to me and said, I have this thing that doesn't do anything. So usually it's new, no one's done it exactly that way. I always say, look, if I told everybody on the planet to make me a table, top, a bottom, and 4 legs coming out of the bottom, we went to everybody in the world, 8 billion people, we'd have different sizes, different shapes, different looks, but they'd all still just be a table, top, a bottom, and 4 legs coming out of them. The most important thing in a patent is that it's a non-obvious improvement over what's already out there. Some improvement that's not obvious to somebody skilled in the art. It's almost like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of that. And it's always obvious after you see it. Hindsight is 20/20, but how do we make those arguments? If it was so obvious, what are all these improvements doing And why didn't anybody ever do this before if it was so obvious? We made it faster or slower or harder or whatever improvement it was. If it was so obvious, why hasn't anybody done that yet?
We have about a minute and a half left. Can you give us a story maybe that would illustrate your services, how they made an impact for an inventor or a business?
So one of my most famous clients is Wayne Fromm, and I sent a picture over, I don't know if you can get it up on here, of Wayne with the selfie stick. And he invented the selfie stick, and I got on this show called The $1 Million Genius on the History Channel of all these great inventors, recent inventors. And we had the patent on the selfie stick, and at the time it was before cell phones had the reversible cameras, and so it was basically a selfie stick with a camera on the end of it and a mirror, so you can line it up and take a picture of yourself. So yeah, I mean, once he was the first person to put it up on QVC. He sold like $2 million worth of them in a month, and once he started selling them, they're being copied everywhere. So we couldn't sue everybody, but we sent out cease and desist letters, and we stopped them from being able to sue, and we ended up getting licensing agreements with all these people that were making the copies of it. So just the fact that he had the patent allowed us the opportunity to be able to protect his idea.
Well, I think you've brought up some great ideas today for inventors or potential inventors. Vincent LoTempio. For more information and answers to your questions, contact Vincent LoTempio by calling 716-216-5000 or go to lotempiolaw.com. Sponsorship and promotional consideration for the preceding segment was provided by Vincent LoTempio. And start your weekdays with me, 7 to 9 a.m. on The Big Weck.